Welcome to One on One. I'm Greg Bassey, your host from the Salisbury Independent newspaper. It's a big day here at PAC 14. We've got our superintendent of schools in the house, Dr. Micah Stauffer. Welcome, sir.
Great to be here, Greg. Thank you so much for having me.
So you're a busy man this time of year. School's open very soon. What's going on?
We have a lot going on. Sometimes people ask, what do you do all summer? And I feel like sometimes I don't even feel like we have a summer. So we've been busy hiring for vacancies that we have in our school system, planning for the upcoming year, getting our staff in place, getting them trained, meeting with our administrators, rolling out expectations and goals for the year, and we're ready to get things going.
Now, it's always a kind of a crisis every year with open positions, but you were county council just last week, and did I understand that you only have 7 open teacher positions?
We do. Currently, we have 4. We're down to 4
Okay.
since that last meeting, and we're excited. We have almost 1,400 teachers. So to have 4 vacancies at this point in the year is a big improvement over what we've seen the last couple of years.
So, recruitment and retention have been such a big focus for so long. Has the corner turned on that, or is it just luck, or what's going on?
I think it's a little bit of everything. We've been working hard on improving our starting salaries in Wicomico County with the help of the funding that we get from local government and the state government. We've also been working hard on retaining teachers, making sure that they get the support that they need right from the beginning, that we're there beside them as they learn their craft and start their school year. We've also noticed that since COVID, where that dip really occurred and a number of teachers retired during that time and maybe chose a different profession, we've just been able to rebound from that. And I think we're in a good place, and we're excited to be able to start the year just about fully staffed.
It's so fascinating to me because the focus has been on new teachers for quite a while now. It's a really welcoming environment, and you want them to feel welcome and succeed. I love what the Chamber of Commerce has done with the new teachers thing. You've got a new teachers event coming up this
Yes.
week. So tell me what it's like to be a new teacher and how you kind of get them indoctrinated into the system.
Well, it's definitely different from when I started. There's a whole new teacher program, a mentoring program that we do. We have staff in place to help orient them, and it really even starts prior to that with the hiring process. Our Human Resources Department does a tremendous job with orientation. They come in, they help get them situated, get them the access that they need, the technology that they need. And then from there, it just goes into our new teacher program, and we spend a whole week with them. This past week, we've been working with them, getting them oriented to everything from the various gradebook programs that they may be using to the curriculum that they're going to be working with, help them get into their rooms early to get them set up and get that anxiety, help get that under control, and then just welcome them to the county, get them to meet the administrators, some of the staff that they'll be working with. And I think that comfort and just starting off on the right foot has really been a help to us, and knowing that we value all of our teachers and certainly want to welcome our new teachers to the county and do everything that we can to make them feel comfortable and welcome in our school system.
One of the great things you guys have every year, it was a little different last year because you were a new superintendent and you were out there, your feet on the ground thing, but you do the big rally thing at the Civic Center. Are you going to do that again this year?
We are. We're going to do that on August 31st at the Civic Center. We're very excited about it. It'll be almost like a pep rally to start the school year. We're going to have some music and drum lines from some of our students. We'll have some high energy. We'll have our Teacher of the Year, Tara Martens from West Salisbury Elementary. They're present, all of our staff, our board members, and just really a great time. We have a guest speaker coming in. His name's Hamish Brewer. He has a lot of energy, and he's going to be able to bring a lot of excitement to the start of the school year. And of course, I'll say a few words and just express my appreciation to all of the staff and wish them well as we start this school year. We're very excited about the things that we have coming up up this year. Last year, as a new superintendent, I personally went around to every single school and met with the faculty in a much smaller environment, and just kind of had a one-on-one with them, and got to share a little bit about myself and who I was, and learn about them and learn about their school and the things that were important to them. And then really I spent a lot of the time last summer and last fall just engaging with our stakeholders, our staff, our parents, our students, our elected officials, and those community leaders that we have, and just kind of learning about, what are the great things that we're doing in the school system? What do you like about what we do? And then what are the things that you think that you're concerned about that we could do a little bit better? And really took all of that information, and it was hundreds and hundreds of data points that we took back with us last winter, and just kind of poured over and put into a plan that I expressed at State of the Schools this past spring. And we're going to be working on the 5 areas that kind of emerged from that engaging with our stakeholders. And we're excited about the things that we're going to be moving forward this year.
Well, let's go right into that. State of the Schools.
Sure.
You match that with the blueprint, the Maryland blueprint, the Betterment program to improve all schools.
I do give my predecessor a lot of credit. She had a great vision to help get us a strong foundation as we moved forward with the blueprint for Maryland's future. And that set us up on a good stage to be able to build from. Things like pre-K expansion. We've been working on expanding our pre-K program for a number of years now. And now that has officially started across the state this past year, we're in a really good place. We'll have over 800 pre-K students this year with us. And you figure a normal grade level in Wicomico County Public Schools is about 11 to 1,200 students. So we're making great strides there, and we see the benefit in that. Our kindergarten readiness assessment scores have increased as a result of that, and just having that structure in place and that instruction in place a year earlier with our students is already proving to be a benefit for us. We've obviously also been working on student achievement and looking hard at what we can do to improve our reading assessment scores, and also our math assessment scores. And just in general, we try to focus more on the student. What are the needs of our students? Definitely a lot more than just the assessments that they take. We're very interested in how they're doing in school, the benchmarks that they hit at each grade level, and work on their reading instruction. With that good, strong reading foundation, we know that we're setting them up to be successful in the later grades. Some of the other things that we're working on is school climate, and we have seen that in recent years, that school climate is something that we need to improve in Wicomico County. So we've been working hard last year and over the summer to put some things in place to be able to do that. Most recently, we've revised our code of conduct, and we've been rolling that out over the summer with our administrators, and they'll be working with their staff when they come back in the next couple of weeks to orient them to that code of conduct. We want to make sure that we have all the supports in place and all the opportunities in place to help students be successful, but also make sure that we have our expectations in place. So to help students understand that violence does not have a place in our schools. Also, continued disruption in our classrooms and in our schools is not going to be tolerated. So we want to make sure that we send a very consistent message, but also a very clear message, so that we work on improving our school climate. We've also noticed there are some things that programmatically that we needed to put in place. When we looked over time, realizing that community resources have, in many instances, along with agencies, have really diminished the support that they've been able to provide school systems over the last 2 decades. Community agencies that may help with mental health, or that may help with special education, a lot of those agencies have dissipated. And what we've seen is the resources from those agencies have pushed into the schools, which is a great benefit for our students. But we're educating different students than we were educating a number of years ago. But when we looked back at over time, we've really not added the levels of programs that we need to be able to effectively address the learning needs that they have, the behavioral needs that they have. So we're working to put some things in place and some different interventions in place programmatically, so that there are other programs other than just the regular education classroom with a class of 25 other students, that, hey, we can do some pullouts, we can do some other programs to help our students be successful and get them in a place where they can effectively learn and not disrupt the learning of others, and then work to transition them back into that larger environment. So we're looking at those types of programs to help improve our climate in the future as well.
You know, we used to focus on test scores, and as a reporter, I love test scores. But as you dig into test scores, it doesn't really tell the story of what's going on in a school system.
It does not. We've had a lot of discussion about that this summer, and looking at our state assessment scores, and they'll be coming out, across the state for us and the community in the next couple of weeks. We've gotten individualized scores to this point, and we've been able to look at that data and at least start to form some opinions about that data. But when we're looking at our own in-house benchmark assessments that we know are aligned with those state assessments, and we see our students being successful on those, but then that success is not transferring over to the state assessments, we ask a lot of questions. The questions about where are the cut scores for the state? Are those assessments truly aligned with the curriculum and the benchmark assessments that we're utilizing for instructional purposes? So what we try to focus on really is the instruction that's happening in that classroom, differentiating the instruction to meet each of the individual needs that the teacher is seeing across that classroom of students, and then what can we do to really grow that student from where they are as an individual to where they need to be as they move forward in each of their grade levels. So what we do focus on a lot are the growth targets for each of the students, and trying to really make sure that we're successful in meeting those targets.
Right, and when I write as a reporter, I try to fit into the strategic plan. So,
Right.
How are things going with graduation rates? Right. What's your retention with teachers?
That's right.
Your pre-kindergarten success. Those are the things that I've always stressed. But as I don't really know what I should be looking for in the school system to say, we've got a really good school system and here's why, so I can point to something.
Right, and I think the things that you mentioned, what's our promotion rate? What's the GPA that we see that our students are able to meet? What is our attendance rate as a school system? Graduation rate is a big one, and we've improved that to up to 85%, which was a 2% increase over the year before. So we're very excited about that as we move forward. SATs. That's something that in Wicomico County we're a little unique, where we give the SAT to every single junior in Wicomico County, and we give the PSAT to every single sophomore.
I didn't know that.
So that's something that's a little bit unique to us, and we do that because we feel like that's a good benchmark for where students are, and as they're moving through high school, what are the things that we can work with them as they move towards graduation. So some of those large picture areas are very important. And as I mentioned, just how are we doing individually with the student? What was their progress the year before? What can we do to set goals to improve on their GPA, to improve on their attendance each and every year? And that's what our teachers work on, and that we stress with our administrators. Let's make sure that we're trying to improve our school system one student at a time. And that's something that we found has really worked for us.
And one thing that I just so I'm impressed with is your STEM performance. It's really remarkable. Everything I know is that it's terrific.
It is. We have a great science, technology, engineering, and math program in Wicomico County Public Schools. We start very early on in our after-school programs in elementary. They're using iPads to do coding. In those after-school programs, we have summer programs that work on those things as well. In middle school, we have the Next Gen program, which is a wonderful program that really stresses those STEM areas and keys the interest for those students as well. And we have CTE and at Parkside for our high school students, and they can, if they're interested in those areas, we have a pre-engineering program there, and we have some other wonderful programs that really play to those STEM areas and that we see are successful for our students. So I think it goes back to what can we do to engage each student and really help meet the interest that that student has.
Yeah, the CTE Center at Parkside will always be one of the most remarkable things in the school system.
It is. I think it's one of the best, if not the best, CTE program in the state. We tout that program. We're very proud of it. And something exciting this year that we're excited about, Warwick has always used our CTE classrooms in the evenings for many years, probably well over 1 or 2 decades. Now that they have that wonderful new building over at Warwick for CTE, there'll be less of the space that they'll need to use, and it'll free up some classroom space. So we're excited because we're gonna go in and use that space, and we're gonna offer Twilight CTE this year. So of course we have our 3 programs during the day. We have something called ATEX, which is an exploratory program for our sophomores. We also have level 1, which is that introductory CTE class. Once they go through that exploratory program, they choose the one that's of most interest to them, and then that's what they study the next 2 years as a junior and senior in level 1 and level 2. But as we move forward, we have evening high school, which is a growing population. We have students that are on, virtual learning, or students that are just busy during the day and have a full schedule during their day program, but really have that interest in CTE and want to try maybe to get into a class or two to see if that's something that they want to lead to in the future. So we're going to be offering Twilight CTE this coming year, starting with the 2nd semester and seeing how that goes, and that may be something that we can continue to expand as we move forward.
I'm glad you mentioned evening high school because it's an incredibly small part of the student population. It's minuscule. But when I run the graduation photos in the paper, we always give 2 or 3 pages to each high school.
Thank you.
And the kids are, elated, obviously. But the look on the faces of the evening high school graduates is different because they have really overcome things and really, had to go through a lot to get that piece of paper. And I get choked up just thinking about it. It comes out in their faces in the paper. They're really proud of what they've done.
And we're really, really proud of them.
And you take it seriously. I mean, you make a big deal of it.
We make a huge deal of it.
And I think that's just so terrific that you do that.
It is a whole other graduation.
Yeah.
That's our, we run 5 graduations in the spring, and we also have a evening high school graduation in the winter.
Right.
That's our only winter graduation, and we make a big deal of it, and we try to make sure that we provide the same experience for our evening high school students that we provide for the large scale, large high school experiences as well. And we typically graduate between about 10 and 20 students each semester in evening high school. And you're right, they've overcome some challenges in their life. Maybe they developed a little bit differently, matured a little bit differently in some cases. Many times it's just that they've had hardships, family situations that have occurred with their own health, whatever it may be. But it truly is special because that they've had to go through things and overcome barriers that maybe some of our students haven't in order to be able to walk across that stage, and we're really excited to be able to do that.
Yeah, they went back and got it done,
They did.
Yeah.
They did.
Another number I love every year is the scholarship number, the dollars. And I think that's a testament, certainly to the college-bound people. But it just says a lot about the school system, I think.
It does. We have the class of 2023 earned over $27 million in college scholarships this year. And they're going to be going to almost 300 different universities across the nation. Many of the Ivy Leagues and the service academies are represented there as well. And we have students that are some of the most successful students in the nation. And we hear back from them doing research from NASA to being a doctor somewhere in our nation. And we have a lot of successful students every year, and we're really proud of that. And I think that's something that our community needs to hear more of and realize that there are so many different students that are so successful coming from our school system each and every year. It's really astounding. We have students, we had a student that earned a 5, which is the highest AP score that you can earn for an advanced placement assessment on 10 out of 13 tests that she took. And that's just astounding. We have students that get perfect scores on the SATs.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
That are receiving full rides to scholarship to colleges across the nation. It's impressive.
Yeah. Where are we on security?
So it's important, and I think that's, if you think about priorities, that has to be your first priority, the safety of your students and staff every single day. And that's exactly what our first priority is in Wicomico County Public Schools. Things that we have been looking at that are going to be new this year. We've got the funding from the county council, so we'll be moving forward with 5 additional school resource officers in our school. We've been working with the sheriff's department. I know they've been advertising and recruiting heavily for that. Our hope is that towards the end of the first semester this year that we'll be bringing on board 5 additional school resource officers to add to the 10 that we currently have. And yes, our goal is to get a school resource officer in every one of our schools. And if more than one is needed in some of our largest high schools, to be able to do that as well. We've also been looking at campus patrol. So we've added 5 additional campus patrol positions, which will begin at the start of this school year to add to our already existing force of 10 that we have. And these are positions where a campus patrol person works hand in hand with the school resource officer and the school administrators, and they have communication through walkie-talkie to be able to patrol our hallways, patrol our properties, check doors, make sure students are out of the hallways during class time and in class where they should be, assist the school administrators with working in the office and working with managing discipline in our schools. And we'll be able to add 5 more at the beginning of the year as we move forward to start to expand that force as well. That's been a big help for our school administrators, and like I said, they work very collaboratively with our school resource officers as well. We're also adding security film to our exterior entrances, and we're starting the process of that. So that's something that'll make all of those large doors and windows at the entrances to our schools shatterproof and make it very difficult to be able to just break a door window and walk in or something like that. We've upgraded our camera systems to more of a digital system, and that's helped with clarity and also the recording of footage within our security cameras and help with the school administrators. So we've done that as well. And those are just some of the initiatives. And then we've also been working this summer with the funding from the county council on fencing to make sure that all of our school properties have the proper fencing up around the buildings and around our school perimeters as well.
Yeah, because you don't want the place to be a fortress.
Right.
You want it to be a school that's inviting and
we want to welcome our
free
community,
flow,
especially our parents.
But at the same time, you have to make it a fortress somehow.
We have to make sure that we are able to manage and control the campus and the building itself. So we certainly always want to be welcoming to our community and our parents, but we have to be able to manage that. And things like security fencing, we have the fob entrances at all of our doors, the digital locks, to be able to control that through computers. So we just want to be able to manage it so that we can make sure that our perimeter of our schools and our buildings of our schools are safe.
What would be your advice to people who want to come to the school board and vent? How should they present their message in a way that's actually going to elicit some sort of change?
I always stress, and my team always stresses, that if you have a concern about a school, let's even start in a different place. If you have a concern about a classroom, make sure that you express that concern to the classroom teacher. And that you work with that classroom teacher and ask the questions that you have. And if you're not happy with the answers that you get, or you feel like you need to go further, then make sure that you then address that with the school principal. And then from there, work with the central office administrators and myself. I try to make sure that I'm accessible. I have open door sessions each quarter throughout the school year. I am in around the community. I try to go to any speaking engagement that I'm invited to from any civic organization or community organization, whatever it may be. And I welcome that. And I think all of our school administrators and our central office personnel welcome that as well. So give us the opportunity to address a concern or to solve a problem. Certainly if a community member feels like they need to come to a board meeting and utilize public comment to share their opinion or share their concerns, they're welcome to do that. But there are many instances where concerns are shared in that venue that you can work all the way throughout the school system, and a lot of times that's never been communicated in any other area or to any other person. So I always just ask, hey, give us the opportunities to try to help you and support you and solve the problems that you're expressing to us.
Okay, you've been in the job a year now. Is it what you thought it was going to be? I mean, you watch people do this job for years.
I did. And there are some instances where I feel like, yes, it's very much what I expected. It's also what I've experienced as a high school principal or in other positions that I've held over the course of my career. And there are also some times where this is a new one,
right?
So, but I have the opportunity to draw from my experiences, and I have to say I work with an absolute amazing team. The assistant superintendents that I work with on a daily basis, the directors at the central office level, and I can't say enough great things about the school principals and the administrators that we have at each of our schools. The leadership that we have within Wicomico County do an amazing job, and I think they're strong leaders, and they support me, and I try to do everything I can to support them and value the input that they're providing to me each and every day. So I'm blessed to be able to do that.
Well, when I was a reporter, I used to sit there in the newsroom and say, if I was the editor, I would do this and I would do that, question my bosses. And then I got to be the editor guy, and I was like, okay, now I understand why it's the way it is. Yeah. Have you had any of that?
I definitely have had a lot of that, certainly in areas that I may not be as well versed in, that could be school construction and all of the various levels of approval that have to happen with that, procurement and finance and contracts and negotiations. Those types of things I learn about each and every day, and I feel like there's always a new experience that I have to, engage my team and say, okay, we have to sit down and let's try to figure this out and what we do. So I've definitely had a lot of that, and I'm imagining that I'll go back to the office after this and there'll maybe be something new waiting for me, but we'll take it one step at a time and work together as a team to solve whatever issues that we may need to.
Any initiatives for this school year you want to talk about?
There are a couple of other things I definitely want to mention and bring out to the community. One that we're excited about is middle school sports.
Oh, yeah.
We are very excited about that. We looked at our data and saw that anywhere from discipline referrals, attendance rate, GPA, that it seems to always take a dip during those middle school years. And we know that's a very tough age for students and adolescents as they mature through their school years. So we know that in high school, we see the value of clubs, sports, fine arts, and of course, the after-school activities that they can get involved with. So we wanted to bring that in a larger scale to our middle schools to really connect students to those programs that they enjoy doing, and then in turn on our end work really hard to make sure those programs are connected back to the classroom so that the performance of the student in the things that they're doing that they're excelling in that, but also that same energy and excitement and accountability goes back to the learning that they're doing in the classroom. And to show that, we've also waived all fees for participation in any of those programs across the board this coming school year. We want students to be engaged. We want them to be connected to their school and get excited about the things that they're doing in school, and we felt like that was something that we really wanted to push forward. We're expanding on what we're already doing in our after-school programs, adding these other programs to it as well. Another one is esports. Digital gaming.
Right.
So we'll be working with our students in secondary schools, our middle and high schools, to get that club and activity off the ground. So we're excited about some of the opportunities that our students are going to have this school year to be connected to school.
He's Dr. Micah Stauffer, and we're thrilled he had time to be with us here today. He's got a lot going on. So thank you so much for being here, sir.
Thank you so much for having me. I look forward to coming back anytime.
I'm Greg Bassett from the Salisbury Independent Newspaper, another edition of 101 right here on PAC 14.
First Shore Federal is proud to support PAC 14 and one-on-one. We'd encourage every business to support PAC 14 and pick a program and support it, and let's make a difference.